The nucleus of the next generation of boxing is looking very promising, and I love the fact that they're all wanting to fight each other and they're not wanting to wait until it's 5 years too late to do so. What's up, Barnhill family? Welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, we got two great boxing matches this weekend.
Yeah.
We just cut the video on Tank Davis and Mario Barrios.
Go check it out.
Yeah, also circulating in the same sort of weight classes, if you will, is the return of Vasyl Lomachenko.
Yes.
He's taking on Nakatani, a Japanese fighter. They share a common defeat to Teofimo Lopez.
Yeah.
What really stands out here, one, Nakatani has 13 KOs in 19 wins, so he does have some power in his punches.
Yeah.
He's also almost 6 feet tall.
Wow.
So I think he is actually 6 feet tall. He might
Wow.
be 6 foot flat. And we know Lomachenko's about 5'6". At least that's what it says on the tail of the tape.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit shorter than that.
That's
so
crazy.
This is going to be very interesting because what we saw with Lomachenko, and now he's had the shoulder surgery. He said that, I had some shoulder issues going into the Lopez fight. Don't know how much that played into the loss, but albeit a very close fight, Lopez did win that fight, and Lomachenko was able. He looked vulnerable against him. Looked like he couldn't quite handle the range and the power of the bigger fighter. So it'll be interesting here to see if the 6 foot stature of Nakatani is going to present some problems in Loma's return.
Yeah, and gosh, I've been so excited to see Loma fight. After the Teofimo fight, it was a very close fight, and the rounds were, it was odd because the first 5 or 6 clearly went to Teofimo, and then the last few clearly went to...
It was the tale of two halves.
Yeah, exactly. And Lomachenko, I feel, just never got going. He never got going early, and then it was hard for him to get going once he did. He kind of had to play catch-up the whole time. I think we're going to see an opposite game plan of that come for his return. The shoulder surgery might have had some issues with it, but I have to say, as a fan of boxing, before the Teofimo fight, when Lomachenko was just racking up those wins and taking belts, that was like one of the coolest things for me. It felt special, and I know he's not a major pay-per-view draw. He is a big draw for boxing, but as of right now, he's still not quite at that superstardom level. But it was really cool to watch his rise, and I felt like the loss to Teofimo stifled it, and it did because he lost, and Teofimo took that momentum and ran with it for sure. But I'm happy to see Loma get back in there, and I just feel like he has the skills, the discipline, the dedication, and the star power to make another surge in the boxing world and kind of become one of those big names that we thought he was well on his way to becoming.
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, he looked good against Teofimo. I thought it was a close fight. I thought it was a competitive fight. I did think that Teofimo did enough to win that fight. And what I love about this younger generation of fighters is it seems like they're almost getting the whole notion that, hey, it's not great to just go rack up 40 wins against 40 no-name people and say, I got a 40-0 record with 36 KOs. It serves you much better to call for the big fights when you think you're ready for them. Call for them in your mid-20s, and then when you make something special happen like Teofimo did against Lomachenko, now he's become a big draw, and he's a very young guy. He's got a lot of talent, and you see that now with Tank and with Devin Haney. These people are challenging themselves. Tank is going up to fight a much bigger Mario Barrios, and so I think the nucleus of the next generation of boxing is looking very promising, and I love the fact that they're all wanting to fight each other, and they're not wanting to wait until it's 5 years too late to do so.
Yeah, let's not let these promoters get in the way of these fighters. The guys that make it to the very top of any combat sports, they are legit fighters, competitors at heart. They want to fight the best to prove to themselves that they are the best fighter on the planet. And when promoters and money and showtime and deals between networks get in the way, it really soils the whole experience, not only for the fans, but for the fighters themselves. And I feel like when these guys are calling for these fights, these major fights that will do really good things for boxing, for the future of boxing, for the kids coming up, we just got to let them get in there and scrap and forget about the undefeated records, forget about, losing. You'll get some really amazing trilogies and some really good rematches out of just letting these guys do their thing. And 2 nights of business or 3 nights of business is better than one. It almost feels to me like there's a changing of the guard.
Yeah.
When you look at the greats of the last era. And I'll put Lomachenko in there because he's been around for a little while now. But Lomachenko, Nonito Donaires, you've got the Manny Pacquiao's, those types of guys.
He seems to defy age, but we'll put him in like multiple eras.
All of them are defying age right now, but they're also they're one big loss away from maybe calling it a day. So it's really cool to see these up and comers that are just hungry and they're willing to fight the big guys that they respected and loved growing up and each other, so they can prove to amongst the young elites who the best is. And I feel like this Lomachenko fight is really fun for that same reason, because if Lomachenko gets a win here, I feel like he's right back in the mix of being one of the best guys in his weight division.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Lomachenko, make no mistake about it, he had his struggles against Teofimo and he lost that fight. But there were moments where of pure greatness out of Vasyl Lomachenko that we've watched. I mean, his foot movement, his shot selection, some of the ways he would bait his opponents in, the reaching up and pulling down of the guard and scoring. I mean, he showed some really beautiful technique inside of the ring. And so I don't think it's near the end for Lomachenko. Quite the opposite. He's a guy that takes a lot of care of himself. He's still in his early 30s. Manny Pacquiao, we're seeing now that if you live disciplined and you train correctly and you're not engaging in these gym wars and you're not just beating yourself up with fight after fight after fight after fight, that you can actually prolong your career and you can do pretty damn good. The 40-year-old Manny Pacquiao sitting Keith Thurman on his butt is a perfect example of that. So, what I think you're seeing here is what you're going to see rather is a career resurgence of Lomachenko. I would still like to see him against Tank. I'd like to see can Vasyly's footwork and craftiness trick Tank, or can Tank find that shot and put him to sleep? I don't know the answer to that question, but I'd love to find out. And I think he's going to come back, and I think he's going to get a really big win here. I think he's going to get a finish, and he's not going to make the mistake he made against Teofimo. We're going to see a come forward aggressive Lomachenko probably from round 2, maybe round 1.
Yeah, and Lomachenko is masterful when it comes to getting in and getting out of range and getting to the side of his opponents, getting to their blind sides and scoring shots and then getting away. And I feel like Nakatani, from what I've seen, is a little bit slower of a fighter. He's longer, bigger, and when Lomachenko, when you have a guy who's really good at striking and he's lower than you, shorter than you, and you're a taller guy with a longer torso, he's going to start to eat that body up early, and he's really good at getting inside, so he can do that, and that'll later open up the shots up top.
And he put Linares out with a body shot, so that's something to remember. Linares is not quite 6 feet tall, but, point being.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like he's really good at attacking the body. He's not just an exclusive headhunter like a lot of people. And I feel, he's going to be one step ahead of Nakatani. He also has a chip on his shoulder, something to prove, because although he's now has 2 losses on his record, the Salido fight, a lot of people think he won, and it was a cheap fight, it was a dirty fight, a nasty fight, and they just didn't want to see him win that.
And it was like
early.
His second or third pro fight.
He's fighting for a title and stuff. So that loss to Teofimo was a true loss. He was clearly outclassed, and the better man won that night. I feel like we're going to see a dialed-in, hyper-focused Lomachenko, and that's something that I'm super excited for.
The return of high-tech. By the way, he should go back to being high-tech Lomachenko. Loma's cool, but Vasyl Lomachenko is just downright confusing. High-tech tells the story.
Yes, unless in Ukraine Loma means high-tech, then he should go back to high-tech, because high-tech Vasyl Lomachenko is awesome, and hopefully we'll see him enter the matrix, and we get to see Vasyl Lomachenko of old in there this Saturday.
I hope so. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Do you think we're going to see a career resurgence of Vasyl Lomachenko, or do you think he's a bit past his prime? Let us know in the comments. We always love chatting with you guys there. If you've enjoyed the video, a like, comment, and subscribe is much appreciated. And if you listen to audio podcasts, check us out. We're everywhere you listen to audio podcasts as well. Have a wonderful day, guys.
Peace.